the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in the binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
Our common stock of words embodies all the distinctions men have found worth drawing, and the connections they have found worth marketing. In the lifetimes of many generation, these surely are likely to be more numerous, more sound, since they have stood up to the long test of the survival of the fittest, and more subtle, at least in all ordinary and reasonably practical matters, than any that you or I are likely to think up in our armchairs of an afternoon the most favored alternative. Method. J. L. Austin. John Langshaw Austin 1911–1960 was a highly influential British philosopher, best known for his groundbreaking work in the philosophy of language, particularly his development of speech-act theory. His contributions challenged traditional philosophical views that primarily focused on language as a means of describing facts or making assertions that could be evaluated as true or false. John Langshaw Austin was born in Lancaster, Lancashire, England, on March 26, 1911. He was the second son of Geoffrey Langshaw Austin, an architect, and Mary Hutton Bowes Wilson. 2. In 1921, his family moved to Scotland, where his father became the secretary of St. Leonard's School in St. Andrews. Austin was educated at Shrewsbury School, earning a scholarship in classics in 1924. He then went on to study classics at Balliol College, Oxford, in 1929. During his time at Oxford, Austin excelled academically, receiving a first in classical moderations Greek and Latin in 1930 and winning the Guys Ford Prize for Greek prose the following year. 5 In 1933, he achieved a first in literary humaniores philosophy and ancient history, which introduced him to serious philosophy and sparked a lifelong interest in Aristotle. He was awarded a prize fellowship at All Souls College, Oxford, in 1933. However, he found the lack of structure at All Souls unappealing and began his first teaching position in 1935 as a fellow and tutor at Magdalen College, Oxford. 7 His early philosophical interests included Aristotle, Kant, Leibniz, and Plato. He was also influenced by G. E. Moore, John Cook Wilson, and H. A. Pritchard. In July 1940, Austin joined the British military and was commissioned in the Intelligence Corps. He was initially posted to the War Office in London, working on the German order of battle, a task that suited his meticulous nature. In 1942, he took charge of a small section at GHQ Home Forces, which was responsible for the preliminary intelligence work for a potential invasion of Western Europe. In this role, he became an unrivaled authority. His section quickly became known for its methodical, rapid, and purposeful work. Austin's exacting standards led to a highly productive environment, and his superiors came to rely heavily on his advice. In 1943, his section was vastly expanded and transferred to the 21st Army Group as the Theater Intelligence Section. Although not formally in command as a major and later Lt. Colonel, his extensive knowledge, expertise, and highly valued judgment meant that he effectively remained in charge of all the work. Before D-Day, Austin accumulated a vast amount of information on German coastal defenses, supply lines, troop formations, and civilian administration in northern France. Weekly, and later daily, reports were issued detailing changes in German dispositions, and a guidebook, humorously titled Invade Mecum, a play on Vade Mecum, a handbook, was compiled for the invading troops. His work was crucial, and it has been said that he more than anybody was responsible for the life-saving accuracy of the D-Day intelligence. He also contributed to identifying German V-weapon launching sites. In the summer of 1944, he moved with his section to Normandy and then to Versailles, shifting his focus to strategic intelligence for operations months ahead. While still meticulous, he found this later work less interesting. At the very end of the war, he was fascinated by the interrogation of prominent enemy prisoners. Austin left the army in September 1945 with the rank of lieutenant colonel and was awarded the OBE Officer of the Order of the British Empire for his intelligence work. He also received the French Croix de Guerre and the U.S. Officer of the Legion of Merit, acknowledging his highly valuable service. After his military service concluded in September 1945, John Langshaw Austin seamlessly transitioned back into academic life at Oxford, taking up the esteemed position of White's Professor of Moral Philosophy and a Professorial Fellow of Corpus Christi College. While he published relatively little during his lifetime, his influence was nonetheless profound, largely through his distinctive teaching methods and the vibrant intellectual atmosphere he cultivated. Austin delivered lectures and tutorials where he rigorously challenged his students to engage with the precise uses of language, pushing them beyond abstract theories to scrutinize the subtle nuances of everyday speech. Perhaps most renowned were his Saturday morning meetings, informal yet intensely rigorous seminars held in his rooms at Corpus Christi. Here, philosophers from across Oxford and beyond would convene to meticulously discuss specific philosophical problems, often embarking on a painstaking analysis of ordinary language. Austin would meticulously dissect concepts, starting with a simple word or phrase, and explore its various uses and implications. These sessions were characterized by intense, precise questioning and a collaborative effort to clarify philosophical puzzles through careful linguistic examination, with notable participants including H. L. A. Hart and Isaiah Berlin. Austin quickly emerged as a leading figure, if not the central figure, of the ordinary language philosophy movement at Oxford. This philosophical approach posited that many traditional philosophical problems often stem from or are exacerbated by a misunderstanding of how language functions in its everyday contexts. Adherents of this view contended that by attentively examining the common uses of words and phrases, one could effectively resolve or clarify numerous philosophical confusions. Austin firmly believed that ordinary language, having developed organically over millennia to serve diverse human purposes, harbored an inherent wisdom that philosophers frequently overlooked in their pursuit of formal systems or abstract concepts. His aim was not to reduce all philosophical inquiries to linguistic ones, but rather to wield linguistic analysis as a potent instrument for achieving philosophical clarity. His most enduring and significant contribution to philosophy is undoubtedly his theory of speech acts. This groundbreaking theory fundamentally challenged the prevailing view that the primary purpose of language is simply to describe states of affairs or make truth claims. Austin argued instead that language is not merely descriptive but profoundly performative, that is, in uttering certain words, we actively do things. He initially drew a distinction between constative utterances, which are typically either true or false like the cat is on the mat, and performative utterances, which enact an action by the very act of being spoken, such as I promise to pay you back or I now pronounce you husband and wife. These performative utterances, he noted, are not judged as true or false, but rather as happy or unhappy, depending on whether certain felicity conditions are met. Later, in his seminal work, he refined this distinction into a more comprehensive classification of speech acts, comprising three interconnected components: the locutionary act, which is the simple act of saying something with a definite meaning; the allocutionary act, which is the act performed in saying something, representing the force or intention behind the utterance, e.g. advising, promising, warning; and the perlocutionary act, which is the act performed by saying something, referring to the effect or consequence produced on the listener, e.g. persuading, annoying, frightening. This theory fundamentally transformed the philosophy of language, shifting its focus from a purely logical analysis of propositions to a more pragmatic understanding of how language operates within social interactions. Its influence has been far-reaching, impacting not only philosophy but also linguistics, pragmatics, rhetoric, and even fields like artificial intelligence. Austin's reluctance to publish extensively meant that much of his work was initially disseminated through his lectures and the diligent notes taken by his students. However, two major works were eventually compiled and published posthumously. How to Do Things with Words, released in 1962, is based on the William James lectures he delivered at Harvard University in 1955. It stands as the definitive exposition of his theory of speech acts and is considered a foundational text in the philosophy of language and pragmatics, meticulously detailing his analysis of performatives, constatives, and the various aspects of speech acts. Also published in 1962 was Sense and Sensibilia, a collection of his lectures on the philosophical problem of perception. In this work, Austin critically examined traditional empiricist theories of perception, particularly A.J. Ayer's sense-datum theory, using his characteristic ordinary language approach to expose what he perceived as fundamental confusions and misuses of terminology. Additionally, his philosophical papers, first published in 1961 and later enlarged in 1970, collects several of his important essays, including A Plea for Excuses from 1956. In this essay, building on a seminar he gave, Austin painstakingly investigated the language of excuses, justifications, and responsibility, illustrating how a meticulous analysis of ordinary language can shed light on complex ethical and metaphysical issues. His visit to Harvard in 1955 was also notable for his meeting and subsequent friendship with Noam Chomsky. While their philosophical approaches and interests diverged significantly in later years, their initial interactions underscore the intellectual ferment of the period. John Langshaw Austin's untimely death in 1960 at the age of 48 cut short a brilliant career. Nevertheless, the profound legacy of his ideas, particularly his groundbreaking theory of speech acts, continued to grow and profoundly shape philosophical thought, linguistics, and various other disciplines in the decades that followed. Next, real is what we may call a trouser word. It is usually thought, and I dare say usually rightly thought, that what one might call the affirmative use of a term is basic, that, to understand X, we need to know what it is to be X, or to be an X, and that knowing this apprises us of what it is not to be X, not to be an X. But with real, as we briefly noted earlier, it is the negative use that wears the trousers. J. L. Austin. Further reading. Nagel, Thomas, leader of the Martians Review of M. W. Rowe, J. L. Austin, philosopher and D-Day intelligence officer, Oxford, May 2023, ISBN 978-019-870,758 660 pages, London Review of Books, Volume 45, Number 17 September 7, 2023, pages 9 to 10. The reviewer, Thomas Nagel, was one of Austen's last students. p. 10. A quotation from Austen: "Is it not possible that the next century may see the birth of a true and comprehensive science of language? Then we shall have rid ourselves of one more part of philosophy. In the only way we ever can get rid of philosophy, by kicking it upstairs." p. 10. Passmore, J. 1966, 100 Years of Philosophy, Rev. ed. New York, Basic Books. Chapter 18 includes a perceptive exposition of Austen's philosophical project. Putnam, H. 1999, The Importance of Being Austen, The Need of a Second Naivete. Lecture 2 in the Threefold Chord, Mind, Body, and World. New York, Columbia University Press. In arguing for naive realism, Putnam invokes Austen's handling of sense data theories and their reliance on arguments from perceptual illusion in Sense and Sensibilia, which Putnam calls one of the most unjustly neglected classics of analytics philosophy. Rowe, M.W. 2023, J. L. Austen, Philosopher and D-Day Intelligence Officer. Oxford, Oxford University Press. Searle, J. 1979, Expression and Meaning, Studies in the Theory of Speech Acts, Cambridge, Cambridge University Press, 1979. Searle, J. 2001. J. L. Austen 1911-1960 in Martinich, A. P. Sosa, David eds. A Companion to Analytic Philosophy, Blackwell, 2001. Soames, S. 2005, Philosophical Analysis in the 20th Century, Volume 2, The Age of Meaning. Princeton, Princeton UP. Contains a large section on ordinary language philosophy, and a chapter on Austen's treatment of skepticism and perception in Sense and Sensibilia. Warnock, G.J. 1964. Austen, John Langshaw, 1911-1960. Proceedings of the British Academy 49. Warnock, G.J. 1969. John Langshaw Austen, A Biographical Sketch, in Symposium on J. L. Austen, K.T. Fan ed., New York, Humanities Press.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark, unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence